Chapter 4, problem number 1. Hello, chemistry fans, and welcome back to Chemistry 1032 problem solving session. I am your guide to this problem, Dr. Russell Betts, and today we will be talking about using the periodic table to identify elements from symbols. So the periodic table is a beautiful thing, really. It's set up beautifully, and we're going to learn more about how it's set up as we go through this chapter. But the first thing we have to understand about elements is that every one of them has a unique symbol, either a one-letter or a two-letter symbol. If it's a one-letter symbol, that letter is capitalized. If it's a two-letter symbol, the first letter is capitalized and the second letter is always in lowercase. That's just how it's done. So now, this is a copy of the periodic table that I give all of my students on exams. If you're one of my students, you will see this table over and over again. It's a very nice table because, first of all, it's very clear, very concise. And the really nice thing is it puts the name of the element under the symbol. So you don't have to memorize any of these things as far as I'm concerned in my class. But you do have to know how to use the table. So the first thing we're going to learn is identifying atoms from symbols, or elements from symbols. So here we go. The first one we want to talk about, Si. Si is silicon. If you look here on the periodic table, you'll find Si, and below it is clearly written the word silicon. And my old man eyes can't see that very well, so let me see if I can pull that a little closer. There it is. I can clearly see the spelling now. Silicon, or silicon. That leads me back to the old joke. Why was the chemist laughing all the way to jail? Because he's a silicon. Ha! I know it's a terrible joke, but I do like telling it. P. There's element P right there. Element P is phosphorus. And the spelling is right there on the bottom. Phosphorus. You don't have to memorize that. It's written directly under the element on the periodic table. Now there are some elements you just can't help but memorize because they're used a lot. C is carbon, for example. Here's another one that's used quite a bit. Bromine. Here's bromine on the periodic table. Here's how it's spelled. B-R-O-M-I-N-E. Bromine. Element Br is bromine. W, there's a weird one. You don't see W very often in my class. It's a metal, and I actually have to kind of hunt for it a little bit. There it is. Tungsten. There's a very, let me get this on frame. Tungsten. There's a very odd symbol for an element. It's tungsten with a W. So let's just write tungsten. There you go. Tungsten. Now we're at element number C. Element number C is up here. Carbon. Carbon is element C. Element K, right here. Potassium. Potassium. That's another element that you see a lot of. It's a very common element. There's a lot of different chemical compounds that have potassium in it, so we see it quite a bit. And here's another one, calcium. You'll see that atom quite a bit as well. I'm sure that you guys all found this question relatively simple, but I do want you to go through this exercise and make sure that you're familiar with following the periodic table and basically hunting around for symbols if you're not familiar with where they might be located. And with that, I'd like to say thank you for viewing. I hope this has been helpful, and say good luck and good chemistry.